When the sun rises, Tim Walz and Vice President Harris are heading back out on their bus tour, this time to central Pennsylvania. J.D. Vance, meanwhile, will head to Michigan. Shortly after the debate, Harris-Walz campaign chair Jan O'Malley Dillon refocused the conversation on the debate about the top of the ticket, saying, quote, Vice President Harris believes that the American people deserve to see her and Trump on the debate stage one more time. She will be in Atlanta on October 23rd. Donald Trump should step up and face the voters. Dr. Jason Johnson and Tara Palmieri are still with us.
Well, what happens in the next 34 days?
That's not happening, I can tell you that.
Why not? Why? Well, I think I know why, but why not?
Because JD did well enough. Mm-hmm. If he failed, I think that Trump would feel like he needed to go out there. Yeah. But he did well enough. They were really happy. I mean, Donald Trump Jr. was out there saying that was a master class. He did what he had to do. And otherwise, Trump has been asking people privately, like, should I debate? Should I debate? I know there are some people in his circles that say he has to. It looks weak not to. But he's also saying, I won. I want to sue David Muir. He has no grounds. He denied that. But he's been like, he's still furious about it. And it's pretty obvious that Kamala Harris needs to debate. Like, she needs to debate. She's the one who keeps goading him into it. And he knows that. And that's what he keeps being advised. So it'll be hard for him, but I can't imagine him debating again.
Does she need to debate?
Remember what Dan Cannon, well, I'm going to tell you what Dan Cannon said, who is the Battleground States Director on the Harris-Walz campaign. We interviewed him this past Sunday, and Alicia put up on the screen the aggregate of these polls, and that showed Vice President Harris was up 1, 2, 3 in some of these states, tied to at least one of them. And at one point, Alicia, very pointed question, she says, does this match what you're seeing in the internals? And Dan Cannon, who is usually very on his toes and everything else, I have never seen him give a stutter step back like I saw. And he was like, well, he said, look, what people need to understand is that she is the underdog in this race. So we tripled down. And we were like, what do you mean? You say, then we put the graphic back up. And I said, do you mean that most of these boxes are actually gray and tied? And some of them are red, -1, -2, -3? He said, I think it's really important that we communicate as a campaign that she is the underdog. I say that to say she wants to debate because it's my understanding that the campaign's internals say that she's not up 2, 3, 4, or 5 in some of the places, that it's actually more what we talk about. It's tied, and she's running behind in some of these states.
Yeah, we talk to different internals people. This is what everyone's going to say. Like, I'm just that is what you're going to say. What on earth are you going to say 40 days out? We got this? Then you end up like Hillary Clinton. Okay? You have to act like you are behind every single time.
So you don't think that they're really behind?
I don't think they're really behind.
I'm telling you.
And here's why.
Maybe I'm wrong.
It's not just about the internals, right? They are not as behind as some of the public polls show, because I tell people this all the time. You have to look at how campaigns behave in addition to what the actual numbers are. If you look at how they're behaving, they're about to go spend money in Florida. You don't do that. You're not expanding the map.
Behind, you're
not spending money in Florida. What's Donald Trump doing?
The money
in crypto, okay? That's not
they always waste money in
Yes, and the money in Florida is about the Senate race, because the Senate race is actually within play.
The fact of the matter is, if you thought that you had no chance in Pennsylvania, if you thought that you were absolutely down by 5 in Michigan, if you thought that you were in trouble in Wisconsin, you're not spending money in Florida. I'm not saying Kamala Harris is safe. I don't know what's going to happen, but I certainly think that it is in their best interest, just like Slotkin earlier this week. Everyone is going to say they're down because it's the only way you can motivate.
I come at this from just having worked.
Trump's people don't say they're down.
I've come at this just from having worked. I come at this from having worked as staff on presidential campaigns, and in the last presidential campaign, and in the presidential campaign before that. And I am telling you, as a recovering strategist, what I have been seeing and hearing from the voters out there. I'm not talking about the polls, from the voters, and then the strategy and the things that I'm hearing from the people that work in the campaign. I am concerned that they are not taking seriously that all of the base Democratic voters that they need are going to come out and vote for them. So I actually
But that's a different point.
But my point is that and because of that, she is down in some of these states. It is tighter. Spending money in Florida is about the Senate race.
But spending money in Florida,
it's not. Someone who's actually had to spend the money for campaigns, presidential and otherwise. Spending money in Florida is not about the Senate race from a presidential campaign. A presidential campaign is not spending money in Florida on a Senate candidate.
Why aren't they spending money in North Carolina?
They are spending money in North Carolina.
They're spending money in Georgia, North, in the states I said she's going to win.
Yes.
Georgia, North Carolina, and Florida. I'm on the record saying that. And the reason I say that, because the other thing to go to the professor's point is that what is not being accounted for in any poll right now is all of the newly registered voters out there who are here and not, hello, oh yes, I got 40 minutes to answer your poll. So the reality of it is there are a lot of voters, and so this is the 16 issue. But it works for Democrats this time.
Yes.
Because Democrats now have a whole lot of voters that aren't getting captured just like the Trump voters weren't captured in 16. And the reality of it is this campaign is aware of that, which is why they're placing their money and their ads in some of these strategic locations. To both of your points, it doesn't mean game, set, match.
Right.
But I'm just telling you, no presidential campaign is putting money out of their presidential coffers in a state for a U.S. Senate race unless that race is tied to their chance to win.
Democrats are not internal campaign people at the senior levels of this campaign, people that I literally used to work with and was in the trenches of. I feel like I could be the expert on this. They are not saying they're going to win Florida. They do think Florida is competitive. Now, Jamie Harrison is saying they're going to win Florida, and I think Jamie Harrison has, he has his reasons. But I just will say, if you talk to the minority leader of the Florida State House, Fenton Driscoll, she says that abortion is an animating issue and that they flipped a state house seat on abortion earlier this year. And so there is possibility for movement. But I think, my personal opinion, is it's more about the Senate race, because what is a Democratic president? What is a President Kamala Harris without a Democratic Senate?
Simone.
I hear what you're saying.
Campaign doesn't waste
and
their resources like
it's
that.
It's not down ballot. It's about building up the Democratic Party again in Florida, which has basically been decimated.
I have a question. I just want to know, look, I elected a president before. James Carville elected a president. He get to run off the president he elected 30 years ago. All I'm saying is, people should be concerned. And if you don't want to be, I would love to be wrong on election day. I don't want to be right. I want to be wrong. But I'm listening to some of the people.
No, I'm with you, because I literally ask people on the right and I ask them on the left, and both sides tell me they're going to win. I feel like it's like 2012 all over again, where both sides think they're going to win, and we won't really know.
Let me ask you both a question, which is, I also wonder when
Trump did not think he was going to win in 2020. People were packing their bags in 2020, I'm telling you, in the White House. They had they were ready to go. 2016, there were very few people that thought they were going to win, like 5 people maybe.
So what are they doing now? Are they unpacking their bags?
They feel good. They feel good about Pennsylvania. They think they're going to get out more men than they're going to get out more men than Joe Biden did. That's what they're hoping for. And they feel good about North Carolina. Like, Trump thinks he's going to outrun Mark Robinson by 15 points. It's not. They feel good about it.
And if you needed just a...
What I'm going to say about this, and
that's what the last word. Go ahead.
The reason that we have tight polls now, and again, I make no prediction. I don't know what's going to happen in 40 days. But the reason we have tight polls now is because you no longer have shy Trump voters, right? The people who in 2016 and 2020 were like, I don't want to admit it, they are out in the open now. You have, look, the man tried to take over the country and try to kill his vice president. You're down with him no matter what, 10 toes down. That's why the polls are closer. That's why we're not going to have a situation where Donald Trump magically overperforms, because that was people who were always with him who didn't want to admit it. What I think is the mystery group, and it's what Michael was talking about and other campaign people who I've spoken to will say, it's all of these people, it's all of these young people, it's the college students I'm dealing with who didn't get to vote in 2020, and Dobbs is this is their first chance to vote, and they are ready. They are hungry. They're serious. Now, you've got some Trump ones, but you have a large number of young people who are super excited about this election, and they haven't been caught because they're all on TikTok, and they're not watching us, and they're not paying attention to the news, but they know what they hear about on campus, and they're going to vote.
I beg your pardon, Professor Jason Johnson, Tara Palmieri. Thank you both so much for being with us.